No one can hurt you the way your own children can. It's so true. I'm in a similar situation. My own daughter, Ava, 27 female, blocked me from attending her wedding. I have been drinking and sulking for a week now. Yesterday was supposed to be her wedding, which was sponsored by me. Yes, I was paying for it as a wedding gift. Ava was not an easy child. I had a whole lot of nightmares raising her. So, when she told me about her wedding plans, I was happy that she was finally settling down with someone she loved. She and her fiancé had money problems to put together a decent wedding, so I pitched in. And see what I get in return? I was blocked from attending it. I can't tell you how devastating it is. A few days back, I called the wedding planner to add my brother to the guest list. He said that the guest list was full. I asked him to send the complete guest list to me so that I could see if we could make any arrangements. He said Ava had instructed him not to share the guest list with anybody. I said I was her dad and the one paying for her wedding, so better they comply with me. He was reluctant to share, but when I threatened to call his boss, he shared the list with me. When I saw the list, my heart broke. My wife and I were not on the guest list. I called up the wedding planner again and said there had been some mistake because me and my wife's name was not mentioned. He said he was specifically asked not to include our names from the list. I could not believe him until he shared the email conversation between them and Ava. I also got to know that they were asked to instruct the security strictly on blocking us from entering the venue. Could you imagine how heartbreaking it was? I knew my daughter hated me, but could never imagine that it was at this level that she wouldn't allow me to attend her wedding. I called her in a rage, but her phone was on voicemail. It was her bachelorette that day. I left a voicemail to call me back. She didn't call me that day, and neither did the next day. On the third day, just a day before her wedding, I showed up at her apartment. She was living with her fiancé. She said she couldn't meet me. She was busy with the wedding preps. By then, the wedding planner told her that I knew about the guest list thing. That's why she was avoiding me. I went there to get an answer from her, but the attitude made my anger get worse. I yelled at her that I knew she had blocked me from attending the wedding. Her reply was, "Well, good for you. It saved you time and energy to travel to the venue. I'll send the photographs of the wedding if I get the time." I effing lost my mind. There was no reason, no remorse, no apology, but this. I broke down at her cruelty. My anger turned into tears. I asked her what did I do wrong to deserve this. She said I have always wronged her. First by rubbing a stepmom in her face, then mistreating her by taking another's side. She wanted me to defend her unconditionally even though she was evil to others. How could I defend her when she bullied and troubled my sister's daughter? I did protect her when she was caught taking pills in school, when she was caught taking illegal substances in school. She got the admission to college because of me. She was close to being expelled, but I protected her all this while. She knew everything yet chose to be ungrateful. When she saw me sobbing, she said I was spreading negativity in her house. I reminded her that I was paying for her wedding. She turned defensive and said that I was not doing any favors to her. I owe her this. I lost my mind and said I effing don't owe her anything at all. I've done enough for her, and this was indeed a favor. She asked me to leave, and she said she had no time for my emotional drama. I came back home and cried like a baby in front of my wife. Mercy. She is my second wife and Ava's stepmom. Mercy is a very kind-hearted and forgiving person, but seeing me break down, she got furious. It was the first time that she encouraged me to take action against Ava. She said we have to do something about it. We can't let her feel entitled to hurt us. Ava had been living on my money until a year ago when she finally got a decent job that would pay off her bills. That's why she had no savings to spare for her wedding. I've had this enough. I decided to teach her a lesson. I canceled all the wedding arrangements. I barely got back any money from the advance amount, but I didn't care. I canceled the wedding venue. I wanted to cancel the wedding planner as well, but doing that would have alerted Ava, and she could have arranged something else. My plan was to ruin her big day. She had already got her dress, so I let her keep that. I was feeling guilty while doing all this, but when I look back, I realized I had already done enough for her. If she didn't feel guilty cutting me off from her wedding, why should I? On the day of the wedding, when the wedding planner went to the venue with the decorators and caterers, they were denied entry. It led to chaos when the security had to show the cancellation email. The wedding planner called me for the remaining payment as they had invested in the arrangement. I said it was no longer my business. The booking was not done by me, though I was paying for it, so they need to catch hold of Ava. They said Ava had a scuffle with the venue guards when they blocked her entry. She was rescued by her fiancé, who arrived just at the right time, moments before she was being arrested for trespassing. She tried to call me, but I had blocked her number. She showed up at my house, but I had removed her access from the main gate. Not that I was afraid of her or I was hiding from her, but I wanted to keep myself at peace. She came to hurt me and would have hurt me harshly with her words, so there was no point in having any conversation. She did the same to me when I went to her house for a confrontation. It was high time that she paid for her mistakes. She was no longer a kid who could be forgiven over and over. Ava did not want relatives at her wedding. She wanted to do just with her friends. I respected her choice. Good for me that I didn't have to answer my family and relatives about the wedding cancellation. She had to deal with that with her friends. It was just that my parents were not happy what I did. They said we cannot be ruthless to our children, no matter how cruel they are to us. I told them that she had brought this upon herself after being mean and narcissistic for all her life. The thing is, how much ever I tell this to myself, the guilt is still there. I put on a brave face and justify my actions, but deep down, I do feel bad that I stopped my own daughter's wedding. I don't know why I'm here writing this, but penning down unburdened my heart. I would be called an a-hole for being so vindictive towards my own daughter. Some of you asked about the background of Ava's hatred towards us. Sorry, I missed that point. I didn't know how this format works, but here are the details. My wife, Mercy, 45 female, is my second wife. Ava is my daughter from my first marriage. Her mother, my first wife, and I were separated when Ava was 7. She found solace in her friend and left me for him. They were shifting to Europe and didn't want Ava, so I got custody of her. I got remarried to Mercy when Ava was 13, and since then Mercy and I have been facing the wrath of Ava. She hates Mercy to her guts. It was pretty understandable when she was a teenager. It was hard to see someone else replacing her mom. Mercy is a teacher and a trained children's counselor. She assured me that Ava would be fine once she hit adulthood. She would see me as an individual who needs a partner and not only her dad. I married 5 years after the divorce. I thought when she grew up, she would understand that I parented her alone for 5 years after her mother left her. She and her new husband didn't even want Ava. But Ava was far from being grateful. She was hateful towards me and Mercy. The situation got worse every day that I had sent Ava to live with my sister. She had a daughter of Ava's age, so I thought she would get a company there. Things were smooth for a few months, but not sooner than a year my sister gave up on Ava. She said Ava had been fighting with her daughter like cats and dogs. It was their final year at school and my sister didn't want her daughter's grades to fall because of these silly fights. So I had to bring Ava back. She somehow stayed with us until her school. During her vacations, she went to stay with my parents. She refused to come back home and said she would attend her high school from there. My parents' house was a little far from her school to cycle, so I had to get a carpooling service for her. That was okay for me until she was happy and at peace. When her high school results came out, she had tanked miserably. Then, I got to know that she got into the wrong company of students. She took pills and even had a bully boyfriend. That's why she wanted to live with my parents. She used to sneak out in the evening after my parents went to bed. She loitered around the city until post-midnight. She had to repeat her final year of high school. Getting her through college was another nightmare for me. Thank God I had some contacts that helped her get a seat at a decent college. With her poor grades and miserable attitude, she wouldn't have secured any college. In college, she again got into the company of rookies and got immersed in drugs. Things went so far that she had to be sent to rehab. She graduated from the college at 25. The next year, she relapsed, and I had to admit her again for a few months. It wouldn't be rude if I call her a pain in the butt because, indeed, she is. She has always troubled me, embarrassed me, and made my life miserable. Thank goodness I found such an understanding wife in Mercy. Had she been any other woman, she would have manipulated me to abandon Ava. But she was the one who always pacified me to be patient with Ava. I cannot thank her enough for all the support she had lent and all the sacrifices she had made for me and Ava. So, Ava's problem was two things. I remarried, and second, I married Mercy. You see, Mercy is not a Native American. Her family originally belonged to the Middle East. They were immigrants living in the USA. She grew up at an NGO because her parents couldn't raise their 5 daughters. They somehow were able to flee the war-stricken zone, but they had nothing when they arrived in the USA. But that's the thing that attracted me to Mercy. Despite her traumatic childhood with limited resources, she beat all the odds, got a master's degree, got a high-paying teaching job, and built a life for herself. Mercy is a self-made person, but Ava calls her a gold digger. Well, I run a flourishing export business. We have been doing this for 2 generations, so yeah, we have somewhat generational wealth. Ava thinks that Mercy married me for my money because it was her first marriage, and mine was the second. Ava's point is, why did she marry a single dad who is 12 years older, if not for money? I'm 57 and Mercy is 45. I don't know who had fed Ava's brain with all these nuances, but that's her argument for calling Mercy the gold digger. You guys also commented if Ava's mother was involved in all these. So the thing is, she had never contacted me or Ava ever since our divorce. The last thing I heard was that she was in Germany. That's it. Coming to the current situation. After the wedding was canceled, Ava tried to reach out to me to unleash her anger, but I had blocked her from entering the house or contacting me through any platform. My parents did not like that Ava's wedding was canceled because of me. They reached out to Ava and offered to pay for her wedding if she wished to do it in the same way. They were disheartened when she chased them out of her house, accusing them of hands and gloves with me. She said mean things to them and told them never to visit her again. She held them responsible for that high school drug thing. She thinks my parents had informed me that she was caught taking pills in the school. It was not them. They tried their best to protect her. I got to know this from her teacher, who went to the gym with me. After that incident, my parents changed their sides. They said what I had done was right. I cannot let her feel entitled to use and hurt us however she wants. I'm still no contact with her. I don't know what she is up to. My parents visited her 2 days back, which was 10 days after her supposed wedding. They haven't married yet, so I'm guessing they are planning some of the other dates and not going for an intimate wedding, which could have happened by now. Oh yes, I blocked her credit card, the one which I am paying for. She was not using it much after her job, but she still had access to it. I'm sure this is going to further anger her, but I don't care now. I don't have any guilt now after knowing that she had misbehaved with my parents. The poor souls are in their late 70s, and they have always loved and protected her. Ava deserved to be abandoned. Update 2. Hey guys, I know it's been over a year since I updated this thread, but I was in constant touch with everyone who commented on the post and PM'd me. After a few weeks, I got to know that Ava had married her fiancé in a private ceremony with just their close friends. I was happy that she was married and wished a good life for her. I was not connected to her on any social media, so I didn't know what was happening in her life. My niece told me that Ava had moved to a neighboring city with her husband. She had updated it in her Facebook status. Life was running as usual when, a week ago, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Ava's husband, Matt. It got tensed to think if some mishap had happened to her. He said she was fine, but she wanted to meet me in person. It came as a surprise to me. I asked him the reason, but he said he would tell me when we met. He said he was in the city, and if I was free, we could meet up for dinner. I said okay. I secretly wished that it was a meeting to reconcile Ava and me. I thought she wanted to meet me, but was ashamed to face me, so Matt was being the middleman. I went there with so much hope after all. I'm a father, right? To my dismay, Matt was alone. I asked about Ava. He said he doesn't know. My heart sank, and I asked if something had happened to her, and if she was fine. He told me that they were separated. He went on to reveal how Ava had been abusive in her marriage. She had real anger issues and would throw stuff at Matt and break the household stuff even at a minor argument. He tolerated her until he could, and when the situation got worse, he got separated from her. He said that Ava had a psychological issue and that she blamed others for any inconvenience that happened to her. She constantly used to fight with him because they had to leave this city and shift there because he got better opportunities there. Ava did not lose anything with this change. She also got a similar paying job in that city, yet she was angry with him for taking her away from her hometown. That was just one thing. Ava used to be always angry at Matt and fight with him. He said there was one more reason why he wanted to meet me in person. He wanted to say sorry. He said he witnessed Ava's cruelty towards me, Mercy, and my parents, but he did not intervene because Ava had manipulated him against all of us. He said he brought misery upon himself by overlooking all the red flags. I said it was not his fault at all. It was all Ava's fault and, to some extent, maybe mine because I was not able to raise her properly. I also said sorry to him because of whatever he had been through with Ava. Matt requested me for one last favor. He said Ava had been distraught by the separation. She's begging him to take her back, but he has fallen out of love with her after her abuses, yet he wishes well for her. He asked me if I could reach out to her and support her at bad times. She literally had no friends because she lost everyone. Thanks to her temper, she has no real permanent friend in her life. He asked me to take her for therapy or something. I said I wished I could, but she wouldn't let me come near her. He understood my circumstances and I understood his. We both wanted to help Ava if at all she would let us do so. After knowing that, I couldn't help but go to meet Ava. It turned out to be as expected. She dropped explosions on me and Mercy, though I showed up alone. I didn't want Mercy to witness Ava's wrath. I apologized to her to calm her down. I didn't think about right and wrong at that time. She was going through a rough time, and I wanted to help her out. I said she could curse me whatever she wanted, but she needed to see a therapist first. She didn't listen and dug up the past. She yelled that she hated Mercy to the extent that she wanted to kill her. She said she blocked us from her wedding because she was embarrassed to introduce Mercy as her stepmom. She was ashamed of her and was ashamed of me for marrying her. She didn't listen to me and chased me out of the house. She blamed me for all her miseries in life. I don't know if I was right or wrong, and honestly, I don't care. I want her to come out of this, but I don't know how to help her. Update 3. Thanks all for the moral support. I was very disturbed while making the last update. The space really helped me release my nerves. Mercy suggested I take the help of Ava's best friend from school. Her family was our neighbor, so we knew each other quite well. She was now living in South Africa. I reached out to her on social media and told her about the situation. I requested her to contact Ava and see if she opened up to her. I was betting she would because she was the only one with whom Ava never had a fight. She assured me that she would help me and convince Ava to go to therapy. And gladly, she did. Ava is going to therapy, and I'm guessing it is going well because a week ago she met my parents and apologized to them for her misconduct. She confessed that her hatred grew so bad that she was unable to control it. But she also said that she was never going to forgive me and still blamed me for everything. I don't despise her anymore. I just wish her a good life, even if I'm not part of that. Thanks for all the support. I wish no father had to go through this when your own child hates you to this level.